After his contract is up, he leaves and he finds himself in the desert where Surah Taha picks up. So after this life, where one support structure after another is removed and it's replaced by something better, he finds himself now in the desert, lost, unaware of where to go and where he should be going. And Allah picks up in Surah Taha by saying, هَلْ أَتَاكَ حَدِيثُ مُوسَى. And what he's saying here is, O Muhammad, have you heard the story of Musa alayhi salam? And we'll come back to why he says Muhammad specifically here. إِذْ رَأَى نَارًا فَقَالَ لِأَهْلِهِمْ كُثُوا إِنِّي آنَسْتُ نَارًا. The language of the ayah says, Musa himself saw a fire in the distance that his family did not see. So Musa alayhi salam can see a fire, his family cannot see it, so he tells them, then wait here, let me go to the flame, maybe I can bring some guidance back for us, some directions, and maybe I can bring some of their fire back for us. And so Allah gives Musa this sign uniquely for him to establish or set up this meeting, this one-on-one intimate conversation Allah wants to have with Musa alayhi salam. And when Musa gets there, Allah tells us, Allah calls out, Ya Musa, inni ana rabbuk. Allah calls out, O Musa, I am your Rabb. So remove your sandals because you are in a hallowed place. And I have chosen you for myself. So establish the prayers for my remembrance. And then he tells him, Innani an Allah. There is no God but me. Verily I am Allah, there is no God but me. Now Allah starts off this story in Surah Taha by telling Muhammad, have you, O Muhammad, heard the story of Musa alayhi salam? Because he wants Muhammad to see, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, to see Musa's parallel in his own life. And I want to take a moment and reflect upon some of these parallels that we can see. So we know, for example, and the masjid here has been going through the early seerah of the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam throughout Ramadan. And so if you've been paying attention, you've already gone through some of these realities of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he was orphaned thrice, 3 different times. He's orphaned as a young child. When he's still in the womb of his mother, he loses his father. And in Arabia, to lose your father means you lose most of your clout in society. Most of the wealth and most of your strength and backing comes from your direct lineage. And so that tie is removed by Allah. It's replaced by someone even. And then he loses his mother as well at the age of 6, and Allah replaces it with someone even better in the legend of his grandfather, Abdul Muttalib. And he's in the care of Abdul Muttalib for 2 years before Abdul Muttalib passes away, and then Allah replaces it with the loving home of Abu Talib and Fatima. Fatima, not the daughter, but the aunt of our beloved Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And so he's orphaned 3 times. And then in his early adulthood, we find out Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam lost children. He's surrounded by death in his early life, even before he becomes a prophet. And we know Abu Talib did not have a lot of wealth. He was actually a poor man. And Muhammad ﷺ was also poor for most of his life, working as a shepherd. It wasn't until Allah gave him Khadija that he became enriched. And he actually says, a part of my rizq, Muhammad ﷺ says this, a part of my rizq was the love Allah gave between me and Khadija radiallahu anha. And so you can see at every stage Allah is taking things away from Muhammad and then replacing them for him, little by little. But then, interestingly enough, when we're told about the beginning of revelation, that first meeting in that blessed cave between him and Jibreel, the revelation, Aisha says, actually began long before that. She says 6 months before that meeting, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam began to see vivid dreams every night. And he would wake up the next morning and that dream would come true exactly the way he saw it. Now imagine that happens to you 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row, a week, 2 weeks, a month goes by, 2 months go by. Naturally you're beginning to wonder, what in the world is happening to me? Why am I seeing these visions every night? Why can I see in my sleep what is going to play out the next day? The questions begin to intensify in Muhammad ﷺ's heart and mind. And then she says during that same time period, there were rocks and trees in Mecca. Every time Muhammad would walk by them, they would say salam to him. And so it happens once, maybe you think I misheard. Twice, maybe I'm going a little crazy. If it happens day after day, naturally you begin to ask the question, Who am I? What is happening to me? Why am I experiencing these experiences? And that's when Allah throws the love of seclusion into Muhammad's heart, and he begins to go up to Ghar Hira and spend months there on end by himself, contemplating, who is Allah? What is my Lord? Who am I? Why are these things happening to me? What is my role on this earth? And that's when Allah sends down Jibreel on a blessed Monday. And Jibreel tells him, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق. Read in the name of your Lord who created. And so some of the parallels we're seeing here. Musa alayhi salam, Allah would take away one support structure after another, and then from means that no one can imagine, Allah brings him another support structure to replace it. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has the same thing. One support after another being pulled away, and then from means that no one can imagine, Allah gives him another support in its place. Musa alayhi salam sees a unique sign in the distance, this fire that no one else can see. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is given this unique sign that he can't speak of. How are you going to tell someone, every night I have predictive dreams? Or you know what, I swear there's a rock over there, every time I pass by it, it says salam to me. Who's going to believe you? So Allah gives Musa unique signs that are unique to him, and Allah gives Muhammad unique signs that are unique to him. And then Allah sets up that intimate initial meeting. And then the last parallel that you see is the way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala introduces himself to his slave. Allah sets up the meeting. He prepares them for it. And then when he comes to introduce, he doesn't introduce himself as Allah first. He doesn't introduce himself as Ar-Rahman. He says, I am your Rabb. I am your individual specific Rabb. And before we go to break, I want to highlight some of the beauties and why Allah introduces himself in this way. And then inshallah it'll all come together why I'm mentioning all of this now at this stage in Ramadan. You see, the name Rabbuk is very special in that it is very intimate, it is very individual, it is very near, and it is possessive. So the name Ar-Rahman, you cannot make possessive. You can't own Ar-Rahman. You can't say Rahmani. It doesn't work. You can say Rabbi, my Lord. And Allah can say, Ana Rabbuk. I am your Lord, O Musa. I am your Lord, O Muhammad. So Allah begins, when He sets up this meeting, He wants them to know right off the bat, I am close, I am near, I am something you can possess in your own heart by yourself. You can have this relationship with me uniquely. And I have been your Rabb the whole time. And then what's really beautiful is that the name Rabb encompasses many characteristics of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just going to highlight a few of them before we go to break that are relevant to the message today. The most apparent characteristic is the characteristic of Al-Murabbi. Al-Murabbi. And you know the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us to make dua for our parents. Allahumma arhamhuma kama rabbani saghira. Oh Allah, have mercy on my parents as they did tarbiyah, as they nurtured me as I was a child. Allah as Al-Murabbi is the nurturer. He is the one who ensures growth. And in fact in Surah Taha, just a few ayat later, Allah recounts to Musa all of the ways he was his Rabb. So he tells him, Oh Musa, you're asking me to give you Harun as an emissary? No problem. I'm going to support you with Harun. But I want you to remember, Musa, who has been taking care of you all of this time? Did I not give you a favor when the soldiers were at your door, at your mother's door, and I inspired her to put you into that river, and I brought you to the very enemy that wanted to kill you, and then I protected you in his wife's heart? Didn't I do that for you, O Musa? Wasn't I your Rabb then? Wasn't I your Rabb when you found yourself exiled under threat of death from Egypt, and I gave you a home, I gave you a wife, and I gave you a job from nowhere? You didn't know what to even ask for, and I gave it to you, O Musa. Wasn't I your Rabb then? So Allah wants Musa to recognize, you come to this meeting, now I want you to reflect back upon your life. I've been there the whole time. And Allah says that specifically, وَلِتُصْنَعَ عَلَىٰ عَيْنِي. I wanted you to grow up under my eye, O Musa. In Surah Al-Duha, Allah does the same thing to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, where He tells him, O Muhammad, didn't I find you an orphan and I took care of you? Who can lay claim to caring for Muhammad? Nobody can own it. Allah cared for Muhammad, because every caretaker was taken away and Abu Talib didn't have the financial means to do much for him. So as soon as he could, Muhammad ﷺ broke off on his own. So no one could claim tarbiyah over Muhammad other than Allah. And he says, didn't I find you in need and I enriched you, O Muhammad? And so Allah recounts for both of them, I have been your nurturer. I've been with you the whole time. You know, last Saturday, and I just have to throw it in because he's one of my heroes and he is a hero to this Muslim American community. Last Saturday was Malcolm X's birthday. And Malcolm has a beautiful quote in his autobiography about this fact of Allah as a Rabb. He says, you know, the night I was taken away to jail, 2 separate people were waiting to kill me. One of the gang lords that I used to run with, he knew that I had played him out, and he was waiting for me just a few blocks away from where I got picked up by the police with a gun in hand waiting to kill me. And back at my apartment, there was a woman that I was messing around with. She was married, and her husband found out about me, and he was hiding in my apartment with a gun waiting to kill me. So by having me arrested in that night, Allah saved me from death twice, and then eventually brought me into the fold of Islam. And so Malcolm ends up that quote by saying, I knew and I know everything is written by Allah. And Allah is watching over us at all times. This is Allah as Al-Murabbi. And when Allah brings His prophets to meet Him the first time, He wants them to know, I am your Murabbi. Some of the other characteristics that this name Rabb encompasses, Al-Malik and As-Sayyid, which means very quickly, Allah is telling Musa and Muhammad, I own you completely. I am your Lord, I am your owner. I have full authority and dominion over you. I'm going to tell you to do things now. I've been taking care of you. I'm going to give you a mission. I have the right to tell you what to do, O Musa and O Muhammad. And by extension, every single one of us. I own you completely. And no one, as Sayyid means, no one has the ability to tell him or ask him what he should be doing with the things that he owns. So this masjid, we as a community, we own this masjid. But it's a historical site. So every time we've tried to make a change or expand it, we have to go and request permission from the city. And if they don't authorize it, we cannot do it. Allah has full and complete ownership and authority. No one can limit what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can tell Him to do with His slaves. Another characteristic is Ar-Rashid. That's encompassed in the name Rabb, Ar-Rashid. And this means the one who guides. And what the ulama say, Allah gives you the goal. So first, He's going to give you the right goal, and that goal is Himself. And then when He gives you the goal, He's going to begin to tell you how to come near. So He tells Musa, and He tells Muhammad, you've been wondering, you've been seeking, you've been questioning, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? The answer, O Muhammad, is me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is your heading. And the last characteristic I'll mention is that Ar-Rabb is the one who fixes something when it gets broken. And so Allah is telling Musa and Muhammad, you may have felt at times a deep sense of fear when Musa was sitting under the tree, or Muhammad ﷺ in that cave wondering, what am I supposed to do? They may have felt a sense of being broken, unaware, unsure, and Allah fixes them back up. So Allah sets up this unique meeting with His prophets, and then He introduces them. When they're ready and they come to that meeting, He comes into them as their Rabb, their personal, intimate, near Rabb. وأقول قولي هذا واستغفر العظيم لي ولكم ويا فوز المستغفرين استغفر الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا أما بعد. I went into that rather lengthy introduction to set the stage for a reminder that I want to give myself first and then all of my brothers and sisters. We are in the 10th day of Ramadan. This is a month that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has established all of the necessary circumstances that I'm going to discuss in a moment for each one of us to seek out that intimate, unique meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This month is a month where Allah opens unique individual doorways for every one of us to turn back to Him. If we would just come back. And Allah, every day as you fast and every night as you're standing in the salah and you're hearing that Quran be recited, Allah is calling back to you, my abd, my slave, come back to me, come back to me. You've been gone for 11 months, come back to me now. You've been gone for a year, you've been gone for 2, 3, 10, 20 years, come back to me in this month. Allah is calling to every single one of us. And each one of us, I don't care who you are in this audience, every one of us has a unique opportunity from Allah to come back to an intimate meeting with Him in this month. An intimate meeting with Him in this month. Now, unfortunately, by this time in the month, we just finished the first third. 30% of the month is gone. We have 20 days and nights left. For most of us, these next 10 or 11 days and nights, normally, we start to feel that mid-Ramadan dip, right? Where some of the habits that we started with start to get a little less. And if we do anything, we're doing it more out of a sense of habit than with any real zeal and focus. And so I wanted to highlight 7, and I know they sound like a lot, but they'll be easy inshallah. 7 circumstances we can take away from the meeting of Musa and Muhammad ﷺ with Allah, that if we emulate them and establish them in our lives in this month, inshaAllah we will find that unique intimate meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 1, you find a level of humility in both prophets. And so you find Muhammad ﷺ very aware that I don't have the answers that I'm seeking to. I don't know how to answer the question that I have. Before that, he has a question, but I'm assuming everybody here, and I'll get into this in a bit, everybody here has a certain question that they have in their mind, one way or another. But you have to begin from a place of humility. I don't know, and I need someone who knows. I am in need, i.e., of a Lord who can teach me what I need to be taught. Because if you don't come into the worship of Allah with humility, you haven't honestly entered into the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You cannot enter into the worship of Allah with arrogance. The worship is not sincere at that point. It's just a matter of habit, and it's a matter of maybe boastfulness and showing off. It's a matter of culture. It's a matter of image and status. So the first circumstance you want to cultivate, every morning when you start your siyam and every night when you start your qiyam, reinstitute a level of humility. I am in need of you, Ya Allah. Or at least I am in need of something. I don't know what that something is yet maybe, but I'm in need of something, and I'm open to hear it from outside of me. And that leads me to the second one, which is a sense of sincerity. A sense of sincerity. That I genuinely want to find the truthful answer. I'm not just looking to gloss over this issue. I really want to find the answer that I'm seeking. It takes a sincere person to take himself away from society and go up to Ghar Hira. It takes a sincere person to travel through that desert to a fire that no one else can see, seeking an answer. So not only do you have to have humility, but you have to sincerely be seeking out the answer. And I say that because for many of us, we pay lip service to the fact that we're struggling to find Allah, or we're struggling to be better people. But we're not genuinely on that path. So you need humility and you need sincerity. You also need a level of awareness. I'm going to end up this conversation with what are those unique signs for you. But you find Musa alayhi salam aware of what's happening in the desert. You find him aware, hey, there's a fire way out there. No one else can see it, but I can see it. You find Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam aware of the fact, something's happening to me for these last 6 months. I don't know what it is. You find Muhammad aware of the fact that these gods that they worship is not my God. Who is my God supposed to be? Many of us enter into ibadah, especially in the month of Ramadan, it becomes nothing more than habit, just like our ibadah is outside of it. You're fasting now out of habit. Your bodies, for many of us, have become used to the 18 or so hours a day that we fast. You may not even feel the hunger anymore. You're just eating now out of, like when iftar comes, you're just eating out of pleasure more than actual hunger. But you want to remain aware when you enter into the prayer every night and you start the fast, you want to be aware, what is Allah saying to me? Especially when those ayat of the Quran are being recited. What is Allah actually saying? Don't go through the whole salah and your mind has been wandering somewhere else. You have to be present and aware in the moment if you want to see that fire in the distance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has put for you. Number 4 is a real sense of deprivation. Allah has already set this up for us. You're fasting 18 or so hours of the day. You're standing the night in prayer, or at least a portion of it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already given you some of this deprivation. But for many of us, we don't do it really in this month. So I'll tell you what I mean. If you come at iftar and you make up all of the calories you missed during the day, you're not genuinely practicing deprivation. And this is something our scholars talk about ad nauseum when it comes to Ramadan. They say when it comes to your fasting, when you break your fast, don't make up for the missed meals. On purpose, reduce your intake. Reduce it. Get your body used to having less and less. A few luqaymat, a few morsels would be enough. And if you can't, then 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 as the Prophet ﷺ said. But you should end your iftar, you're still feeling a little bit of hunger. I can still eat a little bit more, but I'm okay. My back is straight, I can stand the night in prayer. I don't need any more. Feel that deprivation. Take away some sleep from your life, that's fine. Stand the night in prayer longer, that's fine. Your job will take a little bit of a hit, no big deal. It's just a few days. But deprive yourself really, because you find both Musa and Muhammad ﷺ, Allah puts them in states of deprivation because it heightens the humility, it heightens the sincerity, and it heightens the awareness. So if you want those first three, practice a real sense of deprivation. Number 5, you're going to need a level of commitment. And this is something that I want to highlight because I know I've spoken to many young people over the years who tell me, Wallahi, I come through Ramadan and I leave it and I haven't felt anything special in my heart. Right? And one of the realities of their Ramadan is all night is spent socializing and eating, and all day is spent sleeping. Every now and again they'll pray once or twice, and they're expecting in that one moment Allah to come down and meet them. Allah put Muhammad ﷺ through that preparation for 6 months. He put Musa in that preparation for almost 10 years, preparing him for that meeting. It requires a level of commitment and dedication. I'm going to come to Salah every night, and I'm going to stand at the ready, present and aware, waiting for that message to hit me, and letting it come into my mind and heart and reflecting upon it. Without that commitment, don't expect it to happen in a moment. You've been gone for 11 months, maybe barely praying the 5 prayers, and now you want for a moment in Ramadan, you want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to open your heart. That's not the way it works. It requires a little bit of commitment. And lastly, I want to end with this. You have to try and recognize what is your unique pathway. Musa's pathway was that fire in the distance. Muhammad's pathway was these questions that were itching in his mind and in his heart. Why is all this happening to me? For one of you, it might be you've been struggling with an illness, or a family member's been struggling with an illness. And you've been unsure, why is this happening to us? What am I supposed to take away? Why is Allah choosing this for us? And that is actually a negative question. But if you flip it around positively, it can be your pathway back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you have the first 5 things I said, and you humbly and sincerely come into the salah and come to the Quran, seeking an answer, wallahi, you will find Allah speaking to you through His book. For some of us, it may be that we're unsure, what should we be doing with our lives? This career that I chose for me, I don't know if it's really what I want to do with my whole life. Or I'm studying in school and I don't know if this pathway, this major I've chosen is the right one for me. What is my purpose here on this earth? That's a scary question to ask. Many young people struggle with it, and many of us who get older, we tend to just put it aside as we get older, and we bury it with pragmatism. I just have to care for what's in front of me. I can't worry about these big questions. But that question may be your unique pathway back to Allah. If you're humble and you're sincere and you're aware, wallahi, you will find Allah speaking to you, His answer in the Quran. And at some point it'll hit. My purpose in this life is Allah and nothing else. For some of you, it might be a sense of anxiety, of fear and concern with all that's been happening to the Muslim community in this country and the world over. And you may be worrying. You may be afraid, especially my dear sisters who are wearing the hijab in the streets. You may be terrified. You may be worried. One of the characteristics of a Rabb is Al-Qayyim, the one who maintains and takes care of people. He ensures their existence and their caretaking. And so you come with humility and sincerity to the salah, wallahi, you will find in the ayat of the Quran, Allah giving you an intimate response. Don't worry, I am your Rabb. So my dear brothers and sisters, be sincere. Ask yourself really, what is that unique question that's lingering inside of me? What is that unique struggle Allah has inspired inside of my heart that I can call to Him with in these last 20 nights? And you take it with humility and sincerity and awareness, wallahi, you will find at some point or another, Allah will answer you through the Quran. You will find it, inshaAllah. Now before I close, I want to end with one reminder that the brothers here at the masjid asked me to remind you of. You know, in Surah Al-Duha, when Allah tells the Rasul ﷺ, I've been taking care of you all this time, He then commands Muhammad, since I've been taking care of you, take care of those that you can take care of. And when Muhammad comes down from Ghar Hira and he's terrified and he tells Khadija, I'm worried what's happening to me, Khadija tells him, Wallahi, Allah will never disgrace you. And one of the reasons why, you lift the burden of everyone who has a burden on them. And so one of the laudable programs, one of the progressive and very impressive programs that this masjid has taken on is that they've established a weekend school for special needs children. And this is something that the Muslim community has not done for at least for as long as I can remember. We have not had this established. And so this is a laudable, applauded effort, and they're going to be fundraising after this khutbah. So please do your best. As Allah was your Rabb and He's taking care of you to this point in life, do your best to give back to those who are less fortunate and help them. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make these last 20 nights and days of Ramadan a blessing for us. Oh Allah, all thanks and praise are due to you until you are pleased with us. And all thanks and praise are due to you if you become pleased with us. Ya Allah, forgive us our sins and accept from us our repentance. Oh Allah, we ask of you your Jannah and shukafajin you from the hellfire. Oh Allah, please send your peace and blessings down upon Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Oh you who turns the hearts, keep our hearts steadfast on Islam. Ya Allah, keep our hearts steadfast on Iman. Ya Allah, make beloved to us the fasting of these days and the standing of these nights. Ya Allah, we ask that you enter into our hearts, every single one of us during this month of Ramadan. Ya Allah, allow these last 20 days and nights to be a time of connecting with you. Ya Allah, allow us to reap the benefits of these last 20 days and nights. Ya Allah, make this month a month of mercy for our brothers and sisters in Gaza and Yemen and Syria and Iraq and in Palestine and in Egypt and in Turkey and in Kashmir and in Myanmar. Ya Allah, make this a month of mercy for our brothers and sisters the world over. Those in China and in Africa that are oppressed, that do not make the headlines. And Ya Allah, let this month be a month of mercy for this country. Ya Allah, let us be a means of guidance for this country and a means of alleviating this country's suffering. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa aqim as-salah.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Straighten the rows and turn your hearts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Strain the rows and turn your hearts to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pray as if it's your last prayer, inshallah. Allahu Akbar. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
جزاك الله خير أستاذ زيد عباسي على هذه الخطوة القيمة الطيبة المباركة. As you heard last message, it is very important, brothers and sisters, before leaving, I know that you are in a rush hour and you want to go to your work, so please, before leaving, I want everybody, inshallah, to donate for special need committee in this masjid and activities. So we want at least, inshallah, 20, 30 brothers, inshallah, to have any, inshallah, commitment. Who's the first one, inshallah? جزاك الله خير. 200 درجة تكبير. Who's the second one إن شاء الله؟ جزاك الله خير دكتور والد الأخ زيد، أسأل الله أن يتقبل منك ومن ولدك إن شاء الله. $500 تكبير. أخونا الحبيب $200. third ما شاء الله مالك $200. جزاكم الله خير. Our brother $1,000 تكبير. الله، هذا من الزكاة إخواني والصدقة، من أفضل الأعمال إن شاء الله. Special needs. Our brother $500. Who's fourth one إن شاء الله? Who's the fourth? الله يرضى عليك أخ خليل. $200. One of the best programs we are very الحمد لله proud of. لله سبحانه وتعالى اللهم تقبل. أخونا الحبيب إن شاء الله $200. Our brother $100. جزاك الله خير تكبير. Who's إن شاء الله next? إن شاء الله we want at least ما شاء الله brother may Allah bless you أبو معين and يبارك في معين إن شاء الله في أولادك. $100 تكبير. Our brother إن شاء الله عبد الحميد $300 تكبير. Who's next إن شاء الله? Who's next? Everybody please before leaving. جزاك الله خير أخي الحبيب، الله يتقبل ويكرمك أخ محمد. $500. محمد الزعبي جزاك الله خير. $500 تكبير. الله أكبر. اللهم تقبل. شهر رمضان إخوان شهر الصدقة ما شاء الله. $100 ما شاء الله. Our brother may Allah bless you brother محمد. 500 و$200 تكبير إن شاء الله. أخونا الحبيب إن شاء الله $100. معين may Allah bless you and إن شاء الله give you the quick recovery and healing يا رب and blessings إن شاء الله. $100 جزاك الله خير. دكتور مازن إن شاء الله 200 جزاك الله خير تكبير إن شاء الله. الله يكرمك أخي أبو ثائر صح؟ $500 تكبير. أخونا الحبيب إن شاء الله الله يرضى عليك يكرمك يا حج أنيس إن شاء الله. حج أنيس أسأل الله أن يجعله ميزان حسناتك. أخونا إن شاء الله أبو سياف جزاك الله خير $200 تكبير. أخونا الكريم جزاك الله خير الله يكرمك حج ما شاء الله $200 الله يبارك فيك. الله يكرمك يا حج إسماعيل $300 تكبير إن شاء الله. Who's next إن شاء الله? 2-3 brothers and sisters. This is very good program إن شاء الله for special needs people and إن شاء الله for our community. We want We don't want to neglect anybody in the community. We want to empower everybody and to help everybody and to serve everybody. Jazakumullah khair. So please, before leaving, give your sadaqah inshallah to this blessed and holy cause. Jazakumullah khair. Allahumma taqabbal minna ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakallah khair, Akhi Zaid.